For decades, the armed forces of the Philippines operated helicopters in roles that were more about utility than specialization. The Philippine Air Force and Army relied heavily on light observation and utility platforms such as the MD-520MG Defender and the AW-109E Power, which were adapted to carry rockets and machine guns but never designed to be true attack helicopters. This meant that while the Philippines had aerial assets capable of providing some level of fire support, the country had never developed a dedicated doctrine of attack helicopter operations. That gap became painfully visible during the 2017 siege of Marawi, when urban combat demanded sustained close air support and precision firepower, but the assets available were stretched to their limits. The decision to acquire the Turkish-made T129 ATAK in 2020 represented more than just a procurement choice. It was the first step in shaping a genuine attack helicopter doctrine for the Philippines. The MD-520MG, purchased in the 1990s, was versatile for counterinsurgency campaigns in rural areas, but lacked the endurance, payload, and survivability required for modern conflict. Similarly, the AW-109E Power, while more advanced, was still a light multi-role helicopter, capable of supporting troops but not designed to deliver sustained, high-intensity attack missions. These helicopters were sufficient for counter-terrorism operations in Mindanao against lightly armed groups, but they were not a long-term answer to the evolving security environment. The experience in Marawi demonstrated the need for a platform that could provide consistent close air support, survive in contested environments, and deliver a broad range of weapons with greater precision. Enter the T129 ATAK, developed by Turkish Aerospace Industries in cooperation with AgustaWestland. Based on the Italian A129 Mangusta, the T129 was tailored for high-altitude, hot weather conditions and optimized for attack roles. Armed with a 20mm nose cannon, guided rockets, and anti-armor missiles, the helicopter is a major leap forward for the Philippine Air Force's 15th Strike Wing. The acquisition of 6 T129 units, valued at approximately $269 million USD, gave the Philippines for the first time a true attack helicopter platform. Delivery began in March 2022, with subsequent batches completed in late 2023, and by mid-2024, the entire fleet had officially entered service. The importance of these helicopters lies not only in their technical capabilities, but in what they represent doctrinally. Until now, the Philippines never had to think about how to integrate dedicated attack helicopters into combined arms operations. The T129s demand a shift in thinking. They can provide close air support for infantry, conduct counterinsurgency strikes against entrenched positions, and even participate in maritime security operations when paired with naval assets. They allow commanders to train pilots, staff officers, and ground units in the art of coordinating with a specialized attack platform, rather than relying on ad hoc adaptations of utility helicopters. In many ways, the 6 T129s are less about raw numbers and more about serving as a training ground for doctrine, tactics, and command philosophy. The creation of an attack helicopter doctrine in the Philippines is therefore an essential development. For the first time, the military can formalize how attack helicopters support infantry in urban settings, how they are tasked in counterinsurgency operations, and how they are integrated into joint task forces. Lessons from Marawi showed that urban warfare demands rapid, precise, and heavily armed aerial firepower, something light helicopters struggled to provide. The T129s bring the ability to loiter, deliver precision strikes, and coordinate with forward air controllers on the ground. This opens the path for the Philippines to standardize training, build mission planning frameworks, and eventually expand its attack helicopter fleet in future horizon modernization phases. At the same time, the challenges are real. 6 helicopters are a small number for a country with such diverse and widespread security challenges. A single squadron cannot cover both internal counterinsurgency operations in Mindanao and external defense roles in the West Philippine Sea simultaneously. Maintenance and logistical support will also be a concern, as the helicopters use CTS-800 engines originally produced with American technology, meaning export licenses and supply chains could face political complications. Furthermore, training pilots and maintenance crews to a standard where they can fully exploit the capabilities of the T129 will take years of investment. The Philippines has taken its first step, but it is only the beginning. The regional context further highlights the significance of this acquisition. Indonesia operates the AH-64E Apache, Thailand still fields Cobra attack helicopters, and other ASEAN states are either considering or already integrating dedicated attack platforms. The Philippines, by contrast, was one of the last major militaries in the region to acquire such assets. By fielding the T129s, Manila has finally entered a new phase of capability development, aligning itself more closely with neighbors in terms of doctrinal maturity. However, it remains behind in scale and depth, which makes the development of Doctrine all the more important. With a solid doctrinal foundation, even a small fleet can be used effectively as a force multiplier. Strategically, the acquisition also signals a diversification of defense partnerships. The deal with Turkey expands the Philippines' network of suppliers beyond traditional partners like the United States and South Korea. This could prove valuable as Manila seeks to reduce over-reliance on any single partner, while also testing how compatible Turkish systems are with existing command and logistics frameworks. In the longer term, if the Philippines decides to expand its attack helicopter fleet, it may seek to balance between Turkish offers, American systems like the AH-1Z Viper, or even unmanned alternatives. Ultimately, the T129 ATAK fleet is both symbolic and practical. It is symbolic in the sense that it marks the birth of a Philippine attack helicopter doctrine, an acknowledgement that modern warfare requires specialized aerial platforms for sustained support. It is practical because, even in small numbers, these helicopters provide real capabilities that were missing during Marawi and will be critical in future operations. They bridge the gap between old light attack methods and a more professional, integrated approach to combined arms warfare. For Philippine defense modernization, the journey toward a credible external defense posture will take years, if not decades. But with the T129s, the country has laid down the first stones of a path that was previously unexplored. This small fleet is a laboratory for doctrine, a catalyst for change, and a sign that the Philippines is willing to adapt and evolve. The task now is to nurture this capability, expand it when resources allow, and integrate it into the broader modernization roadmap under Horizon 3 and beyond. Viewers and readers who follow these developments should see the T129s not just as helicopters, but as the embodiment of a strategic shift. And for those who value independent analysis of Philippine defense, subscribing, following, and supporting this channel will help ensure these critical issues remain part of the national conversation.